There's one communication skill that separates people who get heard from people who get paid. It's not confidence, it's not clarity, yet almost no one teaches it, not in school and not in any speaking course that you probably ever taken. It's called emotional precision. That's right, emotional precision. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your content, your pitches, or even just your conversations the same way again. See, emotional precision is the ability to choose words based on how they land, not just what they mean. Let me say that again. Emotional precision is the ability to choose words based on how they land and not just what they mean. See, most people think communication is about transferring information and doing so clearly and effectively. They want to get their point across, they want to make it logical, they want to make it simple, but that's not what moves people. That's not what moves people. See, people don't act on what they understand. They act on what they feel. And I know we all up in our feelings. Yes, this is how you become an effective communicator. Emotions, feelings, they matter. See, if your words aren't triggering the right emotional response, then you're technically communicating, but you're not actually connecting with the person or the people that you're talking to. See, think about the difference between a doctor, right? What if your doctor came to you and he said, "You need to change your diet," right? Right? He said that. Versus, if nothing changes, you'll be on the medication that you're taking right now for the rest of your life. Do you see the difference? See, both of those statements are true, but one creates a feeling. One is going to also bring about like a sense of urgency. And that is vital. And more specifically, that's emotional precision, right? It shows up everywhere. It shows up in job interviews, on sales calls, difficult conversations with a loved one or somebody you're in a relationship with. And guess what? It can even show up in the content that you're posting on socials, right? So the words you choose, they are actually going to determine whether someone feels something or if they feel nothing. So once you see that gap, you cannot unsee it, right? Emotional precision is not about being dramatic. That's not it. Like you're not trying to tug at somebody's heartstrings or, get them to emote in some extreme manner. No, it's about being exact and intentional with the feeling that you want to create. You're essentially creating a vibe and environment, and you're using your words to do that, right? So why don't most people have this skill? It's because nobody taught it to you. Nobody taught it to me. School, they teach us grammar. We may learn a little bit of public speaking and in speech class, but no one has ever taught you to evaluate a sentence or a statement by the emotion that it's going to produce in the listener. See, most people they default to language that's technically correct, but emotionally it is flat. It's flat. It's safe words, common words, and words that describe what you mean, but without making people feel any type of way. They don't feel anything about what you said. And that's what costs a lot of us because that cost is real. You could have a great idea, you could have a strong argument, you could even have a genuine, amazing offer that could change somebody's life, and it still gets overlooked. Not because you lack capability or not because your offer was crap, but because the message that you used to communicate that didn't create a feeling that will make somebody want to stop and pay attention, or if it was a product or service, to make that investment. See, most people assume that's a confidence problem or it's a delivery problem, but in my experience and in most cases, it's neither of those oftentimes. It's actually just as simple as a word choice. You'd be surprised how just changing one or a few words can totally bring emotion into a conversation. It could totally change how you and that other person are connecting and feeling, right? And here's the best part, right? Because of that, a word choice is also something that you can fix, right? We're talking about one word or a few words that you can just use in replace of other ones, and it can change the entire experience when somebody is having a conversation with you. So let's get into how to do that. So here are 3 steps to start building emotional precision that you can start doing this week, actually. So, step one is begin to audit your language, how you speak. For example, take one conversation, one email, or one piece of content and read it back. Or if it's a conversation, kind of replay it in your mind and just have this one question in mind while you're doing that. What emotion does this actually create? Or what emotion did you create in that conversation? Not what it explained or what you were talking about. What does it make someone feel? Or what did it make someone feel? See, most people will find that their language is neutral, it's vague, and it doesn't elicit any emotion. So that's the starting point. Then step 2, what I want you to do is when you identify those flat lines that you realize like, man, I could have made that a little bit more emotional. I could have used a different word and it would have had a different impact in the conversation. I want you to start to like what am I thinking about? I want you to ask yourself like what is the specific feeling that you want to create or you would have wanted to create that wasn't created in that post or in that email or in that conversation, right? So not just, I want them to be interested or I want them to buy my stuff. No, you want to get precise. Do you want them to feel the cost of them not doing something? Do you want them to feel the relief of a real solution? Right? Name that feeling and then go back if it's something written and rewrite the lines and, you know, try to make sure that you're targeting that emotion directly. If it's a conversation, just begin to try out using different words in your conversations to see if it creates that emotion that you want to create. Now, let's address what may be the elephant on in the room, or not even the elephant in the room as much as probably the thought in the back of your head, which is like, yo, this isn't going to be easy. Like this isn't something that I can just, snap my fingers and do. You're right, this is going to be uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort means that it's actually working. And over time, what you'll find is that you're going to greatly improve on your ability to communicate effectively, and that's the ultimate goal. But remember, there's one more. Here's number 3. Number 3 is you wanna start noting the language that stops you, right? Like, if it's an ad that you came across, whether you were scrolling on socials or you were watching a YouTube video and an ad popped up and it got you to pause, it got you to watch or read it longer than you typically would any other ad, make note of that. Or if it's a line that you heard somebody use on a TV show or in a movie that you still remember, write that down, make note of it, right? Or even if it's something that, let's say, someone said that you felt like, yo, that really hit different, and or right, it made you feel something that you didn't expect to feel. Maybe it was a person that you were having a conversation with and you didn't think much of it, but you walked away like, oh dang, like I never expected that person would say something to get me to feel this type of way. Those are the type of things that I'm talking about, taking a mental note of, like saving it, and then begin to even study them, because that's how you can start to implement and practice those same techniques, those same phrases, those same word choices, right? That's when you want to start asking yourself, like, what was it about those statements or those words or those ads that worked? See, emotional precision is built through exposure and deliberate practice, right? So you need to be exposed to these type of emotional word choices. These are these statements that elicit emotion. And then you need to start to deliberately practice them yourself. So it's a two-pronged approach, because the more you study language that caught your attention or that made you feel some type of way, then the better your language will actually become, because communication is not just about being clear. It's not. It's about creating a feeling that is going to move someone, whether that's moving them to action or moving them closer to you in their ability to trust you. It's moving people. And if your words don't do that, being articulate is just not going to be enough. Like, you have to be able to get people to feel something when they're having a conversation with you if you want to make a lasting impact. So now you know what it takes to make your words emotionally connect with your listeners. But knowing this and still making the mistake in the next video, that's what's going to keep most people stuck. So I want to encourage you to go check out the video, the communication mistake that 99% of people make every single day without realizing it. And make sure that that's not you. I'll catch you then. I'm Jay. I'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed.